I'm Dr. Catherine Morgan, and in my 33 years of practice helping men navigate the changes that come with age, I've witnessed thousands of moments that break my heart, and just as many that fill it with hope. Just last week, a gentleman named Robert sat across from my desk, his weathered hands clasped tightly together. At 67, he'd built a successful construction business, raised 4 children, and been married to his high school sweetheart for 42 years. But the man sitting before me looked defeated. "Doc," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "I don't feel like a man anymore." Robert's story is one I hear almost daily. He told me how things had gradually changed over the past few years. The spark in his marriage was dimming. Those intimate moments with his wife had become sources of anxiety rather than joy. He felt like he was letting her down, letting himself down. "I've tried everything," he continued, pulling out a small pharmacy's worth of little blue pills from his jacket pocket. "These things cost me a fortune, and half the time they give me such terrible headaches I can't function the next day. My wife says it doesn't matter, but I can see it in her eyes. We're both just settling." I've seen this scene play out hundreds of times. Men in their 60s and beyond feeling like their bodies have betrayed them. They're embarrassed, frustrated, and often convinced that this decline is just an inevitable part of getting older. They think their only options are expensive medications with uncomfortable side effects or simply accepting defeat. But here's what I told Robert and what I want to tell you today. That's simply not true. You see, in my decades of practice, I've learned that our bodies are remarkably resilient. Even at 60, 70, or beyond, your body has an incredible capacity to heal and restore itself. You just need to give it the right tools. Robert looked skeptical when I first explained this to him. "Come on, Doc," he said with a sad smile. "I'm not 25 anymore. Some things just don't bounce back." I understood his doubt. Our culture has trained us to think of aging as a steady downhill slide, especially when it comes to men's intimate health. We're told that after a certain age, we should just be grateful for what we have and not expect much more. But in my practice, I've seen something completely different. I've watched men in their 70s rediscover passion they thought was gone forever. I've seen couples in their 80s reconnect in ways that made them feel like newlyweds again. The secret isn't in expensive treatments or complicated procedures. It's much simpler than that. And it's been hiding in plain sight all along. Let me share with you what happened to another patient of mine, a man I'll call James. His story will help you understand why the approach most men take to this problem is actually making things worse. James came to see me 3 years ago. He was 62, recently retired from his job as a high school principal and looking forward to spending more time with his wife, Margaret. They'd planned trips, talked about hobbies they wanted to pursue together, and were excited about this new chapter of their lives. But something was getting in the way of their happiness. "It started small," James told me during our first consultation. "Maybe 5 years ago, I noticed things weren't quite the same. At first, I figured it was just stress from work. You know how it is. Long days, lots of pressure, not sleeping well." James did what most men do in his situation. He ignored it, hoping it would go away on its own. When that didn't work, he started looking for quick fixes. He tried the pills his doctor prescribed. He bought supplements from late-night TV commercials. He even considered some of those painful injection treatments he'd heard about. "Nothing really worked the way I hoped," he said. "The pills worked sometimes, but they made me feel awful. My face would turn red, my heart would race, and I'd get these pounding headaches. Margaret was worried I was going to have a heart attack." This is where James's story gets really interesting, and where it differs from Robert's experience I mentioned earlier. Instead of giving up, James started paying attention to patterns. He began keeping a simple journal, noting when he felt better and when he felt worse. What he discovered surprised him. "I noticed that on days when I worked in our garden, I felt more like my old self," he told me. "At first, I thought it was just the fresh air and exercise, but then I realized it was more than that. On the days when I spent time tending to our vegetable patch, especially when I was handling certain plants, I felt stronger and more energetic in every way. James had stumbled onto something that traditional medicine often overlooks. Our bodies have natural systems for maintaining strength and energy, but modern life often interferes with these systems. We spend our days indoors, eat processed foods, and live disconnected from the natural world that once supported human health for thousands of years. But here's the fascinating part of James's discovery. It wasn't just any gardening that made the difference. He noticed that certain plants seemed to have a more powerful effect than others. When he worked with his tomatoes, handled fresh basil, or spent time around his watermelon vines, the improvements were more noticeable. "I thought I was imagining things at first," James admitted. "It seemed too simple, too good to be true. But the pattern was clear. My wife noticed it too. She said I seemed more confident, more like the man she married." What James had discovered, without knowing it, was that certain plants contain natural compounds that support the body's own systems for maintaining energy and blood flow. Unlike synthetic medications that force your body to react in specific ways, these natural compounds work with your body's existing processes. Think of it like this. Imagine your body's circulation system as a garden hose. As we age, that hose can become kinked or partially blocked. Most medical treatments are like turning up the water pressure. They might push more water through, but they put strain on the entire system and can cause uncomfortable side effects. What James discovered was more like gently straightening out the kinks in the hose. Instead of forcing more pressure through a damaged system, he was actually helping his body restore its natural flow. Over the following months, James began researching which plants and foods had the strongest effects. He learned that certain vegetables, fruits, and herbs have been used for centuries by cultures around the world to support men's vitality and strength. He started incorporating more of these foods into his daily routine. Fresh watermelon became a regular part of his breakfast. He grew his own spinach and ate it fresh from the garden. He discovered that dark chocolate, real, high-quality chocolate, made him feel more energetic and alert. The changes were gradual but steady, James explained. It wasn't like flipping a switch, but week by week, month by month, I felt more like myself again. And the best part was there were no side effects. I felt better overall, not just in the bedroom. This is where James's story becomes really important for understanding how your body actually works. You see, the same natural processes that support intimate health also support your overall energy, mental clarity, and physical strength. When you support your body's natural systems, instead of fighting against them with harsh medications, you often experience improvements in multiple areas of your life. James began sleeping better. His energy levels throughout the day became more consistent. He felt more motivated to exercise and stay active. His mood improved, and he found himself looking forward to activities he'd been avoiding. "Margaret said it was like watching me come back to life," James told me with a smile. "Not just physically, but emotionally, too. I felt confident again. I felt like the man she fell in love with." Now, let me share with you what I've learned in my 3 decades of helping men like James and Robert rediscover their vitality. The human body is like a finely tuned machine. But unlike a car or computer, it has the remarkable ability to repair and restore itself when given the right support. The key is understanding what your body actually needs, not just masking symptoms with powerful drugs. Think about a plant that's struggling in your garden. You could spray it with chemicals to force it to look healthy temporarily, but the real solution is usually much simpler. Better soil, proper watering, adequate sunlight. Give the plant what it naturally needs, and it will thrive on its own. The circulation system that supports intimate health is the same system that delivers nutrients to every cell in your body. When that system isn't working optimally, you don't just experience problems in the bedroom. You feel tired, foggy, and older than your years. But when you support that system naturally, everything improves together. In my practice, I found that certain natural foods and compounds can work like gentle tune-ups for your body's circulation system. Instead of forcing dramatic changes with synthetic chemicals, these natural approaches help your body remember how to function the way it did when you were younger. One of the most powerful examples is something as simple as watermelon. This humble fruit contains natural compounds that help your blood vessels relax and expand, improving flow throughout your entire body. Unlike prescription medications, watermelon doesn't force this to happen. It simply provides your body with the raw materials it needs to do what it naturally wants to do. Dark leafy greens like spinach work similarly. They're rich in natural compounds that help convert into substances your body uses to keep blood vessels healthy and flexible. It's like giving your circulation system a gentle, natural boost. Even dark chocolate, the real stuff, not the sugar-loaded candy bars, contains compounds that support healthy blood flow and can improve your body's response to physical and emotional stimulation. The beauty of this approach is that these foods work together, creating a symphony of support for your body's natural processes. When you eat watermelon, spinach, and dark chocolate as part of a healthy diet, they don't just help with intimate health. They support your energy levels, mental clarity, and overall sense of well-being. But here's what most men don't realize. The effects become more powerful when you know how to combine these foods properly and consume them at the right times. James discovered this through trial and error, but there are specific ways to maximize the benefits. For example, consuming certain foods together can multiply their effects. Eating them at particular times of day can optimize how your body absorbs and uses their beneficial compounds. This isn't about following a restrictive diet or making dramatic lifestyle changes. It's about making simple, enjoyable additions to what you're already eating. Most of my patients are surprised by how much better they feel when they start incorporating these natural approaches into their daily routine. The transformation typically begins within the first few weeks. Men report feeling more energetic during the day. They sleep better at night. They feel more confident and optimistic about life in general. And yes, they rediscover the intimate connection and satisfaction they thought were gone forever. I want you to know that no matter what challenges you're facing right now, there is hope. In my 33 years of practice, I've never met a man whose situation was truly hopeless. Not at 60, not at 70, not even at 80 or beyond. Your body wants to be healthy, strong, and vital. Sometimes it just needs gentle support and the right natural tools to restore its own healing processes. The men in my practice who see the most dramatic improvements are those who approach this journey with patience and consistency. They understand that real, lasting change takes time, but that the results are worth waiting for. Unlike quick fixes that might work temporarily but come with unwanted side effects, natural approaches build on themselves over time. Each day you support your body's natural processes. You're not just addressing immediate concerns, you're investing in long-term health and vitality. Remember, you have decades of life ahead of you. These can be some of the most fulfilling, passionate, and joyful years of your entire life. If you give your body the support it needs to thrive, the choice is yours. You can continue feeling frustrated and defeated, believing that decline is inevitable, or you can take the gentle, natural approach that has helped thousands of men rediscover their strength, confidence, and intimate satisfaction. Your wife, your family, and most importantly, you yourself deserve to feel vibrant and alive. Age is just a number. It doesn't have to define what's possible for your health and happiness. Dr. Catherine Morgan, Men's Vitality Specialist. Take care of yourself. Dr. Catherine Morgan, Men's Vitality Specialist.